The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Hello and welcome to the Hoop Ball DFS Today podcast. I am your host, Mike Apatra, and I am joined by another very special guest. This is crazy, people. This is two times in 3 days. We're trying out one of our new guys. We got Andy Gallagher on with me tonight. Andy's one of the guys that you'll see if you're one of our Hoop Ball subscribers or you're just checking out our forums. He helps manage our DFS thread over there. I'm really excited to have him on. He's a very knowledgeable guy. He's also a fellow East Coaster. I'm going to assume you're under the age of 84, so you're probably on my side rather than coach's. So I'm happy to have you, man, here. Are you excited to do this?
Yeah, it's awesome. First time on a podcast, so about half the age of 84, actually grew up an East Coast guy and everything. So, yeah, you're right on track with that so far.
Yeah, so you grew up on the East Coast. I always I did the same thing with Miles. I'd like to give you, just a minute or two where you tell everybody how you got started with the DFS, a little bit more about yourself, where you grew up, what your hobbies, anything that you want to get out there, man. These people want to hear it.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Canton, Ohio, so it's the Football Hall of Fame city. And so from there, I pretty much followed the Cavs and LeBron, of course, as far as basketball goes. Love and follow all sports. Work a day job, office. Also have a small family, raising a little family here. And pretty much just do a lot of fantasy sports on the side. And pretty much as far as basketball, fan-wise goes, kind of stopped following the Cavs and really just want to follow LeBron wherever he goes now because I actually live down here in Miami, and I stopped. Funny thing was that I stopped following being a LeBron fan, kind of being upset over him moving down here. And I actually moved down here in South Florida in 2006. So when he came down here, I was like, no, I'm not a fan.
When you going to L.A.? That's the next step. When you moving out to the West Coast now? You might as well. You got to keep going with it, man.
No, man, you can't do that.
No, that's awesome, though.
It was actually similar timing, and but no plans to go out there. I just want to follow his games as much as I can. The hard part is because I'm on the East Coast, it's very hard to follow late night hammer games and stuff like that. But I play them as much as I can in my daily DFS stuff,
Well, that's actually an edge that Coach and I talked about previously, in the preseason when we did some more strategic and, how we break down our cards and build our lineups kind of episodes. And we talked about how some players tend to fade some of the West Coast players because they can't stay up and watch them as much in DFS as well. And, that's something I like to take a look at. And, that's why I like to play a few sites. I always get some lineups on DraftKings. I play fantasy draft a lot too. But, that late swap, it's a big feature that you got to take advantage of. And, the people who aren't staying up and aren't using the late swap on DraftKings, it's a group that we're getting an edge over.
That's right, my friend. So that's why since I've been listening to you guys, I'm getting a lot more expertise and learning. And that's a big thing about not only with the West Coast, the what do you call Texas, the Maverick Coast and all that good stuff.
Listen, man. Calling us experts is fluffing us up a little bit. We fall off the rails over here. Our audio gets a little messed up here and there. Yes, we know our hoops and we like to play DFS. But listen, you know your stuff too, man. We wouldn't be having you on if you didn't. I completely back you. I'm excited to hear some of your takes. And before we jump into anything just too soon, let's give a quick shout out to our boys, over there at Hawaii and Isles Kona Coffee. Andy, I'm sure you've been listening. You know how I feel about this. I don't know if you've had it in your cup yet, but get it, man.
Cups full of dark brews, preferably the Arabican dark brew.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's my favorite. I'm a big dark roast guy too. That's kind of my morning thing. I think it's all mental because I didn't know up until about a year ago that light roast was actually more caffeinated and would give you more energy. I just assumed the darker the roast, the more bold the flavor, the more it was doing for me as far as waking me up in the morning. But try out any blend; they're all fantastic. I've had their light, I've had their dark. They have a few flavored blends over there. Check them out at HawaiianIsles.com. Or you can go on Amazon and just search Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee. It'll pop right up. Or just tweet at them. They're phenomenal. They'll get right back to you. And let's be real. They're also avid fantasy basketball fans. I mean, it's not every day you see a Kona, coffee company supporting a fantasy basketball atmosphere, and it's because they love hooping. So why not support both? One hand wash the other. I love working with them, and I love their stuff. So get that out of the way, man. And I don't know. Have you been doing the coaches challenge contest? Because we can win some free coffee. I'm going to try to get that over there.
For sure. I hope to do better next time. I was definitely in the bottom end of that one with the 6 entries. So we'll give it a go next time.
Yeah, I mean, we used to do them last season on DraftKings, and that was kind of the thing. I always like to go for the free gear. And last year we were doing the coffee. If you get a little sample pack if you got first or second place, and that's kind of what I was gunning for. Now it's the T-shirts. I want a free T-shirt. But listen, free is free, and I'll take either one. But we're going to start off. We got an 8-game slate we got to get to. The first game is going to be a showdown slate. It's going to be at 6 o'clock. It's going to be the Brooklyn Nets versus the Chicago Bulls. I'm a gentleman. Everybody will hear me say it 1,000 times. I'm going to be a gentleman tonight, especially with a new guest on it. So, Andy, I'll let you start this off. I'll let you pick your team. Lead us off.
Well, interested in more so in the Bucks here, and we got about 227 over under. Bucks favored, of course, with the Pacers coming off that back-to-back. I'm not going to get into how weak the Pacers are looking right now, but so the reasonable price, minimum, bump on Bledsoe, I would say, on fantasy draft. I'm willing to pay the price. We got Giannis, of course, and really it's good usage between the trio, between Giannis, Bledsoe, and some Brook Lopez. You could throw him in there because they're a top 10 pace team. So you can go ahead forward that and play those guys, man.
First things first. I'm a little thrown off real quick because I had the different showdown slate up. I think you started right off the rip at the 7 o'clock. We're gonna get going. Just to start.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, no, man. Listen, I'm excited about the main card. I'm probably gonna play more of the main card in the showdown, but
yeah, the Nets.
Yeah, we're gonna start with the. You're fired up, man. You're already ready to talk about. Listen, I love Bledsoe as much as the next guy. We'll get to him. I'll be there.
Okay.
I'll be there on him. But we gotta get through the show. We gotta get through. Listen, you're jumping the gun. I know you're all fired up. Nah, no worries, man. Let's just.
Definitely.
We're good. I told you it wouldn't be part of the show if we didn't fall off the rails a little bit. So
yeah. So Chicago and Nets. All right. I'm not really into the game overall. So you got White from the Bulls. He's up and down. I can't rely on him. If I was playing anybody on that side. So I'm really just taking a pass when it comes to that game overall. No, nobody.
No, hey, listen, that's all right. I mean, I don't play every showdown slate. We were talking about this before we got on air. I kind of pick mine. Generally, if I do play, it might be a weekend game like this one, so I might throw one lineup in there, maybe 2 or 3. We'll see. But I only play them more or less when there's nothing really else on to play. I don't go out of my way. I'd rather throw a few more bullets into the main slate. But if I were looking on the Chicago side of the ball, I think we're going to be looking at the the main obvious options that we normally are, like Zach LaVine, obviously. Good game last game. Finally had that little bounce back. It's a plus matchup for him. I think they're going to need to see his usage up. Kobe White, he is up and down, but the one thing that kind of keeps me intrigued with him is the shot attempts. Those seem to be sufficient. 23 shot attempts in the last game, in 35 minutes. That's a boatload of minutes. Will he play that again? Probably not. Probably floating around the mid-20s. But I think the shot attempts are pretty real when we're looking at, double digits in the last 4 games, 13, 16, 14, and then, like I said, 23. So I do have some interest. He's more of like a a little bit of a riskier, maybe like a GPP, maybe not in your cash game, because he is going to garner ownership, and he does have that risk where he could easily have a 23-point game, and then all of a sudden there's your edge. So I would say temper your expectations with Kobe. And then I'm looking at Wendell Carter Jr. definitely. We know that centers destroyed Brooklyn. His minutes are up and down, but this is a matchup where I could see him being a little bit more useful. He played 21 minutes in the last one, but that's against the Bucks. Brook Lopez stretches the floor. Giannis can play small ball 5. There's a lot of ways that they could take Wendell Carter Jr. off the floor. So I'm not really counting that 20-minute game. Those are probably just my main options. I'm not really going there marketing because he's just been slumping pretty hard as of late, and I don't know exactly what it's going to be to break him out of it. I don't know. He might be playing through some sort of injury. I think I saw something about an oblique a week ago, but I'm staying away from that whole situation, and then I'm not really touching the whole Kendrick Nunn or Tomas Satoransky.
Pretty much a stay away.
Yeah, and then, in Brooklyn, I think a lot of it's just going to be determined by Kyrie Irving's news. He's questionable right now. He played in the last one when he was questionable, so I anticipate that he suits up again. And if he does, there's no reason why you shouldn't be considering him as your captain spot. It's just the highest floor and the highest ceiling of any player in the game. And then we really want to try to figure out exactly who's going to be getting the bulk of the center minutes in this matchup. You can argue either center would make a good matchup. I think, when it's not a big-bodied center, we can anticipate Jaren Allen seeing at least decent minutes, and I would say decent by maybe a couple more than DeAndre Jordan. So I think I might lean Allen in this matchup. Andy's also $2,400 cheaper. Looking at the captain spot, when you're looking at just regular scoring, not the captain spot, it's $7,600 to $6K, so $1,600 difference, which is enough. It's still a big enough difference to matter. And then obviously with Karis LeVert, we're seeing Spencer Dinwiddie and Joe Harris both play starter level minutes, and both will see increased shot attempts. I'd prefer those two guys. I wouldn't mind Taurean Prince. But I think I would just rather go with those two guys. I think Prince is going to garner some ownership, and he might be one of the guys I kind of stay away from.
Yeah, if I was to actually play Showdown Slate, I would have to go Jordan, because the way he's been playing, the upside is tremendous. I think he had a 50-point game just a couple games back.
Yeah, he did. And, shout out, I think it was, Andy, our other Andy, Andrew. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think he called him out that game, and it was, he mentioned him, and it was one of those matchups where I look back and I'm like, wow, yeah, that just made a ton of sense. I wish I had a little bit more shares of him, because it was going against Rudy Gobert, an elite center defensively, big body, tall guy, rebound. So, it made sense on paper. So those are, when I come across those kinds of matchups, and I feel like I could now, look at it and target it. That's generally when I want to play Jordan. And hey, maybe I wouldn't shock me. At the end of the day, he's a double in 20 minutes if it happens. I wouldn't be shocked.
Okay.
All right, man. I know you're ready for this now.
Fair enough.
I know you're ready to move on to this main side. I don't even have to ask you. So let's jump right into this. I think you know which game it is. First game of the night, we have the Milwaukee Bucks going against the Indiana Pacers. Andy, fire us up.
Yeah, so as I mentioned there, we have concentrated usage in a high-paced game, and the Bucks are rested. Pacers are not. So we got to look at starting with Giannis, try to get him into our lineups, find some value. You're not going to find a whole lot of value, of course, with Milwaukee, because I don't see anybody else doing anything, even though they have the injuries like with Middleton. I don't really see anybody stepping up unless you have any suggestion or anybody the thing I think mentioned. Brook Lopez as possibly a buy-down spot, but I really don't have anything else going on with the Bucks.
So, yeah, I kind of alluded to it a little bit before. I've been riding this Eric Bledsoe train. If you've been listening to these shows, even when he was hurt, I was waiting to jump on that kind of opportunity where I knew he was going to be healthy and start getting his minutes up, because the usage is there for him. It's going to continue to be there. This was before Middleton got hurt. Just the splits last season with Brogdon off the floor compared to when he was on were just astronomical for Bledsoe, and he was a much better player when Brogdon was off the floor, just a lot more ball handling responsibility and, like I said, usage. So take that into account, plus Middleton being out, he's going to continue just to thrive. I think this is just way too cheap for him. I'll be all over him in this game as well.
Yeah.
My one fear with this game is, if it could get out of hand with Indiana being on a back-to-back, and then we also saw Malcolm Brogdon leave tonight's game with a back injury. He's Yeah. So he's not returning. So I'm almost anticipating. It's a little early. It's only 10:42 over here right now. We're recording this on the East Coast. I wouldn't be shocked to see Brogdon sit tomorrow. If he does, I might reconsider being overweight on too much of the Bucks, just in case of this being, a dumpster fire of a game without Brogdon. But there's game stacks where if I was to run it back with anybody, I'd probably be looking at like Sabonis. And then, if Brogdon sits, I think T.J. McConnell and Aaron Holiday are both in play. I think both. I'd probably prefer McConnell, just because if he's getting the bulk of the starting point guard minutes at a little bit of depressed salary, he's only $3,700 on DraftKings compared to Holiday at $4,900. I think that's enough savings for me to kind of make my decision over there. But the usage really gets spread amongst everything. Brogdon's one of the league leaders in usage this season. So I anticipate, Warren getting a little bump, Sabonis getting a little bump. Holiday and McConnell will obviously see a bigger bump because those guys are going to handle the ball a lot more as well. But those four guys are probably where I'd look to get my shares, and I wouldn't go overboard on them. I'd probably be mix and matching, one or two guys in a lineup just for the value if I needed it.
Interesting take, yes, with McConnell, with Brogdon looking at being out. Definitely have to figure that into my lineups as a way to go. With the Holiday brothers, looks like Aaron is the guy, as Justin hasn't been able to take over, right?
Yeah, well, it's a little bit different. Justin is more known for his defensive ability. He's always kind of been a good on-ball defender. I think that's kind of why they wanted to bring him in over there. And, Warren's kind of locking that position up. It makes sense. Holiday gets on the court a little bit when they want to move Warren over to the 4. But when they're starting Jakar Sampson, I think Holiday being that off-ball, another off-ball ball handler, kind of relieves some of the pressure off Brogdon because they need Brogdon to score. It just kind of makes a little bit sense. But, without Brogdon in the lineup, maybe things look a little bit different. Maybe they switch things up. They might just, they're either going to start McConnell or slide Holiday down to the 1. And then, could bring his brother in off the bench and start him at the 2. So could go either way.
Look out for that tomorrow, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I would wait to see on the starting lineup. I'm not really interested in Justin Holiday. If we see that he's starting, then, maybe I'll take it into consideration. But like I said, I'm mostly looking at Holiday and McConnell to kind of, soak up some of the minutes that we're going to see from Brogdon. And then the usage is going to be spread out amongst, the whole starting rotation. So I think they all get a good boost.
Gotcha.
All right, man, moving on to the next one. We have the Charlotte Hornets going against the New York Knickerbockers. 7:30 Eastern Standard Time game. I'm pretty much okay with taking either one of these teams. I usually get the dumpster fire teams as it is, so I can't really lose on this one. I'll let you bat lead off.
Yeah, I would start with I like the Hornets a little bit better, just because even though they're a last in pace team from what I had seen. Last place in pace. But Graham for me is too high. I'm not on him just for this risen in price. The guy that's really interested me in this really lower total over-under is just going to be Cody Zeller because his price sorry, I'm checking out Fantasy Draft instead of FanDuel. I know I'm sorry, DraftKings, you're on that. But, just 10,600 on Fantasy Draft. When you look at the points per game that these guys actually produce on the Hornets, even including Rozier, the best value on the team is without a doubt is Zeller. So that's really, and these are both two rested teams, so we don't have to worry about back-to-back or anything. They're not playing tonight. So the Hornets can, work Zeller into the game a lot. He's been really lately past 2 or 3 games, I believe, have been up, and his point production, fantasy-wise, has been just enough to hit value and probably over.
Yeah, no, Zeller's very consistent. At the end of the day, I think he makes a lot more sense in cash games than he does tournaments. He does have that pop every once in a while where he puts up like a 40-point game, has a pretty big double-double. The Knicks play big. I don't think they're going to force him off the court in any way. Between Mitchell Robinson, Bobby Portis, Taj Gibson, Julius Randle, the rest of the other forwards and centers that they have, I think he should see at least 30-plus minutes. So, yeah, I think, Zeller would probably be one of my, primary targets if I'm looking to play anybody from the Hornets. And then I mentioned it, on the last show that I was on, and, keep an eye on Rozier. This usage in the shot attempts, he had another good game tonight. Devontae Graham being in the starting lineup helps him more than hurts him. It takes some of the defensive tension away. He doesn't have to create for himself as much. I'm giving Rozier the boost. I don't understand. Graham can still be higher than him. I'll still take Rozier over him any day of the week. Would I rather play a guy like Bledsoe over Rozier? Probably. Again, that's going to go on great all about game script, and we'll have to see about the Brogdon news. But that's kind of the approach I'm taking right now. I'm not overly interested in anybody on Charlotte. I'm not going to try to force too many people in. But if I happen to land on Rozier as like the last spot in my lineup, I'll feel okay about it.
All right.
And then, what are you feeling over there on the Knicks side of the ball?
Yeah, I'm not really liking anything. I have to pass on the fizz train there.
Yeah, dude, it's a train that's like up in smokes right now too. It's and I'm still remembering back, and here's my every 10 minutes shot at coach right now. I can't believe he tried to back him up and say he's a good coach. I gotta sit there and talk to coach about it. We had a little talk. He's like, "Really, man? You don't like fizz?" I was like, I can't stand this guy, man.
Yeah. I got some questions for Coach, too, but I won't get to him tonight.
Well, we'll save those. I'm sure you'll be on another show very shortly, and you'll be doing that with him. We're trying to spread it out a little bit now. We have 5 people that we cycle through working on this show. So, and again, you guys are doing a smash job over there on the forums, crushing it. We're giving you guys so many avenues to just get this information, get these questions out, and it's fun, man. But back to the burning fizz train. For me, I'm not overly interested in this game too much. I think that Charlotte's defense obviously is one that we could pick on. Julius Randle just seems way too underpriced to me on DraftKings at 6,400. Mm-hmm. He's just for cash, he's hitting cash almost every game. And then we have to factor in he does have this 40-point upside. So I think I'm going to have a decent amount of shares in Randall just simply because of the price tag. Other than that, I'm not really touching the point guard situation. R.J. Barrett is coming in questionable. He's likely to play. I don't think he's not going to play. I think I read a report saying he is more likely to play. But
that's what I heard.
Yeah, and he had a down game last game. Listen, rookies have down games. Things happen. Not a big deal. I'm not going to fade him because he's a rookie and because he had a down game. I've just been kind of fading away from that train as the season progresses. I think the other guys are kind of getting themselves integrated a little bit more. So for me, I think it's just Randall over here on the Knicks.
Yeah, it's enough games we can go elsewhere as a 7-gamer here. So moving on is just fine with me.
Oh yeah, and this is the next game that we're going to get to is the Primo game that. It's going to draw a lot of ownership, a lot of attention, and for good reason. We got the Houston Rockets going against the Minnesota Timberwolves. This game's taking place in Minnesota. I'll give you the layup. You want to start with you want to take the Rockets?
Yeah, let's see. Who's a layup guy for the Rockets? Capella's out. So we got Tyson Chandler. So the thing was here is they were running big with Tyson Chandler at center. He's a center. But then the other guys, I didn't really get to see. I know that they started out the game with Chandler at center, and then they ran, of course, the other guys in there. But they brought Rivers off the bench as far as if I'm correct. But then he got a lot of run time off the bench, and so if they go small, you're looking at Rivers at 7,100 on Fantasy Draft. So he's a real good value play, especially for tournaments, I would say. So there's no over/under on the game yet, but we got a lot of going on there with Harden and Westbrook's expected to play. What I heard.
No, he was expected to play tonight and sit tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll have to go with that. So sitting tomorrow, we got we got Harden. So what else do you want?
Yeah, I was hoping, man, if you missed the layup on that one, I would have been a little upset. I was like, you're like, oh, what layup could I have on this? And then you brought up Tyson Chandler. I was like, oh no, man, it's all right. It's all right. Listen,
no, I wasn't saying to play him. I was just saying that I was trying to figure out what kind of lineup they were running at first, because they started out with him at the beginning of the game. When I just ran the highlights on it and see what happened, and then, but then Rivers came in later on.
Oh, listen, no, I'm not gonna knock Tyson Chandler in this game. a couple people, you probably heard me on the last show, I was kind of off of him in this first, for tonight. I didn't want to play him in this matchup. I didn't think it was necessarily the right matchup where they had to force him out there for big minutes. And I thought that they might be able to get away with playing P.J. Tucker on Sabonis for a good amount of time. And from everything that I'm seeing, Chandler ended up running out there for 24 minutes, but that looks like what they did. They played P.J. Tucker 39 minutes. They played Rivers 30 minutes, so they went with a little bit of more of a small ball lineup. I don't know if they'll be able to get away with that same lineup tonight going against Karl Anthony Towns. So they might need a little bit more of Tyson Chandler. So this kind of game script makes a little bit more sense for me to be more interested in the Tyson Chandler value play. Obviously, I think a lot of people are going to hop off. He's only seeing a $200 price boost. So for those reasons, I think he's more in play tonight than he is tomorrow. Am I going to try to force him in a ton of lineups? Probably not, but I think I'm going to definitely take a harder look at him than I did yesterday. And then, obviously I think James Harden is just close to, as must play as it comes. With Westbrook, most likely to say, and this is a fantastic matchup, 12-2. I don't know how you can really, argue against playing him. We don't really have too many, priced up studs to choose from tonight. We're gonna be choosing between Harden, Giannis, Doncic, and then Towns. After that, you got Kawhi going against Atlanta. That's another one you can factor in. I haven't been really playing too much over there on the Clippers side of the ball, though. So I have no problem spending up on Harden. And when you look at Harden versus Giannis, I'd much prefer Harden over Giannis at $200 more. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. And, I'll kick off over here on Minnesota. I've been playing Minnesota, and they've been winning me a decent amount of money. And I've been riding this Teague train since he got back. The back-to-back, kind of keeps me a little skeptical. I think that, you could look at him. He's still only 5,100 in this matchup. I think it's a plus matchup for him. So I think Teague's in play. Wiggins was out tonight due to personal reasons. So I don't know, we don't know necessarily what that means. I didn't read too much into it. I don't know. But if he misses tomorrow again,
I can't remember what he has going on.
Yeah, I didn't see it either. But with him out, he's been soaking up such a massive usage lately that this is going to get spread out amongst the starters. I think you can just look straight back, like I said, to Robert Covington, Jeff Teague. I think are both fantastic options. I do love Karl Anthony Towns in this matchup as well, especially with no Clint Capella. I think he could really take advantage of Chandler on the outside. If he wants to shoot 3-pointers all day long, he's going to be able to do that all day long. So I think those three guys would be my primary targets. If you wanted to look at like an Okogie or a Jarrett Culver, I think Culver would make more sense if Wiggins sits, just because he's a little bit cheaper than Okogie. I think they have pretty similar floors and upside. So yeah.
Oh, he had a death of his grandmother. I'm sorry.
Okay, so yeah, he might miss another game then. Prayers out to him and his family. It always sucks when something like that happens, but. We got to kind of prepare for the situation. So I'm going to kind of go off the assumption that maybe he sits another game. I don't know.
It's unclear right now.
Yeah, every player is different. We just seen Dennis Smith Jr. take off a week. You see games like Isaiah Thomas playing the day after he finds out his sister passed away. So it really could go either way. Just keep your eye on the news, kind of prepare for both. Don't build your lineups too early unless you have the time to edit them before lock, just in case.
I played Teague and some other guys I was into tonight. I'm trying to remember who else, but I think it was the other guy you mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
Actually.
All the Teague and Covington tonight.
DraftKings, yeah. But
Covington was like 40, I think it was like 47 or 4,800 on DraftKings. That's just ridiculous.
Cheap. He already got 32.25 points tonight already on DraftKings.
Oh, yeah.
Teague.
Both of them.
Culver's got 25. He was the other guy I'm playing.
There you go, man.
Heck yeah. Oh, and I even got Okogie. I did a triple stack, 24 points for Okogie.
Oh, yeah. Looking at that matchup, it's just the Wizards in general just bleed points. Zero defensive ability on that team in general from like anybody in their starting lineup. So, yeah, I mean, making good game stack against them is definitely a good way to go. I think I played 3 was my max. I don't think I played more. I did one with I think it was Towns. Culver, and Covington was my 3 stack I did with them, and I faded Teague in one of them. But you know what, man? It is what it is. I'm looking good right now. I faded Tyson Chandler in most of my lineups. I only did a couple lineups I wasn't necessarily right next to my computer, and I knew it wasn't going to be. So I did some single entries. I threw a couple bullets into a few GPPs, but I didn't go overboard. And I'm looking like I might see a decent return on my investment tonight. So let's keep the fingers crossed. But we got a few more games to go through, so we're going to keep going. We're going to move on to the New Orleans Hornets. I almost said New Orleans Pelicans versus the Miami Heat.
Yes.
This game. I think it's going to be a little bit more enticing than some people think. Taking place in Miami. Both teams, I got some interest in. I'll let you start off with whatever you'd like to take.
Oh, well, I'm going to go with the home team here, the Nun and the Heat. So they're going to bring out the nuns, I think, tomorrow.
Yeah.
In the stands or something. But, with Winslow out, it's just really been great for his success. He got interviewed after the game last night. He was really level-headed kid, good kid. So I know he was a second round, or was he free agent? I don't remember. And so his kid's awesome right now. And, Bam's getting a little high. The spend up for Butler is just fine with me. Compared to some other guys, spend down compared to like Luka and Young. So Trey, and we can go ahead and do that. I would just stick with those two guys, though, as far as my cash lineups.
Yeah, I think Nunn has been absolutely smashing. I wasn't really on him as much during that showdown slate that he crushed. So I paid the price. I got a lot of my other guys right in that game, but I didn't get him right. I kind of stayed away from him. But yeah, I think you can look at him definitely. I think his price tag's still fair at $5,800 on DraftKings. I think Butler's price tag is more than fair at $76, and I think Bam's is more than fair at $75. I think they're all priced fair. Bam's minutes have just been up, and that's something I like to kind of attack when I know and I feel confident. 3 out of the past 4 games he's played at least 35 minutes, played 40 in the last one. If he's playing minutes like that, we definitely have to take him into strong consideration. We know that the Pelicans really aren't that great in the front court, a little bit battered and bruised right now. Jahlil Okafor, I think, is questionable, so that's going to kind of matter. Favors, fantastic game. We're going to get to that other side of the ball, but I think it's still a front court that Bam could take advantage of in there. As far as any of the other ancillary pieces, Goran Dragic, he's a guy that I think is very matchup dependent. I don't think I'm going to really be on him too much in this one.
No.
I don't think that they're going to really, the Pelicans can definitely play small ball, so I think that might kind of limit the Myers-Leonard minutes, and that means generally when Myers-Leonard's minutes are going to be limited, we see a couple more go over to Kelly Olynyk. I don't know how that really makes sense. They're both very, 7-foot stretch players. So I don't, it does correlate though. The numbers don't really lie on this one. So I think I'd probably prefer Olynyk over Leonard if you wanted to look at those two guys. But my main targets would probably be Butler, Bam, and then if you wanted to sprinkle a little bit of Nunn, I don't mind that either.
Yeah, I mean, if I could spend up for Bam, that's fine with me as well.
I mean, I think it used to help at least. Now on DraftKings he's only center eligible. But when you're over there on Fantasy Draft and you could plug in a few, 3 or 4 centers, he's definitely a good target. So New Orleans, though, this is the one that we have to really monitor. We have some injuries going on. We have guys sitting. We have a ton of guys questionable. Right now, Lonzo's heading into the game questionable. Brandon Ingram's probable. Josh Hart was ruled out. J.J. Redick, is questionable due to a left great toe sprain. I never heard of a great toe sprain. That's a new one for me.
What the heck is that?
I heard of a big toe. I don't know why they call it. Is that what it is? Is that the medical term? Is it actually a great toe? It's not a big toe?
I've never heard. I work around medical a lot. I never heard of that one.
Okay, so we're gonna go with that. So you heard his big toe. So he's
toe.
also questionable. Like I said, Okafor is also questionable. So a lot of this is going to matter about the news. So we're gonna go through this game. We're gonna give you our takes.
Yeah.
And I'll just lay a blanket statement with it. We're gonna Ingram rule him in. Lonzo Ball, I'm just gonna say he's out because he's been out. I don't really know if he's going to be. It's really up in the air with that one. And then Redick, I'll consider him with the big toe injury that he's going to play with that bad boy. So I guess we could take it forward going with that. Who are you looking at? What's your main approach to this game? Do you like anybody on this side of the ball?
More so have to pass right now unless something comes up with the injuries tomorrow. One interesting thing I noticed with the Pelicans is that the offense, according to I believe it was the coach, they said the offense is a lot different without Ingram. They're actually passing the ball more. They had about 35 more passes in the game without Ingram on the floor. So you're talking about different offense. They had more, I guess, free flow of that going on. But with Ingram back, he's going to take over and hold the ball more. He's going to score. He's going to get his points. So if he's back, I mean, I would like to go back to him if at all possible, fit him into my lineups. Favors to me, I'm talking, fantasy draft, his price went up. I'm off Favors. And that's no more, what's his name, E. Williams. He was playing power forward.
Oh, Kendrick,
sorry. Yeah, he's not in play anymore because I don't think he's going to get enough minutes anymore.
I think with Ingram out, yeah, it's definitely going to impact his minutes, and especially with the price bump. He was 4,500 in the last one. I think he was 42 before that. No problem rolling him out there. I still think he's going to see a decent amount of minutes. I think he really, in this stint, he's kind of secured a good role. Coming into the season, he wasn't playing as much as most would anticipate because he played well down the stretch last season. He's playing well when he's been given minutes this season. So I'm not going to completely scratch him off. I'm definitely going to lower my expectations for him. I don't know if I'll get there, but I'm not ready to just scratch him off yet. I want to see how all these injuries pan out. But yeah, I think if Ingram's playing, we could definitely take a look at him. His usage has been just massive this season. Obviously, he's been we can almost look at him like a most improved player candidate in my opinion. The step he's taken this year is just astronomical. I didn't expect anything like this from him. Derek Favors, I'm not scared off by the price tag. It's more of like a matchup thing for me. It's just not a best pace. It's not going to be the best defensive matchup for him. 6,200. I would actually hope for a down game on this one. That way we can capitalize because he's really looking like he's turning things around. The minutes are starting to get there. He's getting double-digit rebounds every game in the past 4 games. So in the right matchup, keep your eye on him. Maybe going forward. Maybe it's the next one. I haven't checked the schedule. But not in this one. So that's kind of my only thing I'm really looking at. Drew Holiday's a little bit priced up, 8,600, especially if we know that we might have we're going to have Ingram back, we might get Ball back. So I'm kind of off that train too.
Yeah, let's see. No over under yet. We'll see how it goes tomorrow and updates. Keeping up on the news.
All right. 3 games left, so we're just about, I guess, at that halfway point. So before we go any further, just another shout out to the guys over at Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee. We do appreciate you. They're our number 1 sponsor since day one. They have a fantastic melody of blends. Check them all out. They're dark roast, light roast flavors. You can get them in K cups. You can get it in just the regular brew. I get the bags, and then I have the refillable K cup dispenser, so that way I can kind of get the best of both worlds, and not destroy the ecosystem with K-Cup pods. So, that's kind of the way I like to do it. But, whatever floats your boat, just try their coffee. It's fantastic stuff. Definitely, if you get a chance, give us a rate and review, a thumbs up over on, iTunes, Stitcher, Podcast, anywhere you can find them. We're all over the place. You can even get us on YouTube. So we really do appreciate it, guys. It's kind of one of the driving forces that allows us to continue to keep this content free because we keep getting approached by these sponsors because they keep seeing all the great reviews. They keep hearing about us, and it's mostly because of you guys. It's word to mouth. It's you guys talking about us, reviewing us, and again, we do appreciate it. We work hard on this. We try to bring you the best content that we could on a nightly basis. One of the only shows I've ever seen in the industry that can do a 7-day-a-week show. So, thank you. And, we're bringing on more people. So now we got Andy on here. And Andy, I'm hoping you're having a good time with me tonight, man. But, this is growing, man. You're jumping on at the right time. This whole DFS community over here at Hoopball is blowing up, man.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's really a great time to be involved.
All right. Well, we got 3 games left. Like I said, the next one we're going to jump into is Portland versus San Antonio. This is a game where we've seen these 2 teams kind of have some pretty tight ones over the years. I'm expecting a pretty tight one now. I don't know what that means as far as the scoring column, but I don't know where you want to start off.
Well, I guess I'll start with the Blazers. Looking at an over-under around 227, close game, competitive. We got Dame, still good value. We got a nice matchup. He's going to be playing against DeRozan. Actually, I want to ask you, what do you think about that? Are those 2 going to be guarding each other? How do you think that's going to go?
No. I think if they're smart, they'll put Murray on him. DeJounte's their best perimeter defender. Just the fact that he's quick, he's got the length, he's kind of got a lot of intangibles that would make sense putting on Dame. So I would think Murray, but Murray also doesn't play big minutes, so Murray's might only play 24, 25 minutes at most. So we might see some other checks, but I would imagine it would be a lot of Derek White and a lot of DeJounte Murray.
Gotcha. Yeah, so other than that, I'm just not really feeling too much any Blazers as far as going to anybody in particular. I'm looking for value. I'm always looking for who are the guys coming in that's going to be lower cost and try to get and spend up, because we got our Harden and Giannis today, options like that. So I don't really see anywhere else to go on the Blazers.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the Blazers, I think you hit it on the head with Dame. He's definitely underpriced. 8,700 is way too cheap. It's kind of, I think, just that prototypical Spurs pricing that we see. And the Spurs defense isn't necessarily what it's been. We've hit on this a few times. They're playing up a little bit more of an up-tempo pace than they're used to in the past. But more or less, the only thing that's kind of worrying me a little bit is that DeJounte Murray defense that I brought up. He really is a good defender. I don't generally go out of my way to target guys against the Spurs. I'd be playing Lillard because of the price tag if I did. And then, I wanted to bring up the whole wing situation. A lot of the values kind of getting a little bit soaked up with Rodney Hood being back. The big surprise was actually Nasir Little, the rookie, playing a little bit of power forward. 22 minutes in the last game. And I got to tell you, if he's going to play 22 minutes, I think I got a little bit of interest. Next to minimum salary, took 10 shot attempts in the last one. He's an amped-up rookie. He played a lot. I believe he came out of UNC in college, so he was, the biggest name on their team pretty much. So you got to imagine when a guy like that gets his first crack at the NBA, he's not going to be gun-shy. So, definitely a GPP play, nowhere near a cash game. Not a good matchup for him whatsoever. You might not even start again because it's going to, if they're expecting him to guard LaMarcus Aldridge, he's going to get beat up on fast, foul trouble fast. So maybe this isn't, but I'm throwing it out there. It's just a name to keep an eye on. Sometimes getting these guys in your head and jumping on them at the right time is what we need to do. So monitor them. Maybe if we hear he's starting again, we could take a stab at him. And jumping over there on the Spurs side of the ball, I think DeRozan and Aldridge, they're both a little bit underpriced, but neither one of them has kind of been showing me that ceiling that I've been wanting to see. I mean, the biggest game that we've really gotten out of DeRozan all season was the one that he got last game, and it was only 44 DraftKings points. So at 7,200, yes, that's hitting value, and it's a decent return. But that's his highest points return on the season so far, and it still doesn't really, get me to where I want to be. It's not enough juice left in the bone for that one. But and it kind of, the same thing for Aldridge. Generally I look at this matchup and I don't mind targeting Aldridge, but I know he's going back to Portland. But this one's going to be in San Antonio, so I don't think I really need to focus on playing him too much. Murray is definitely going to be a guy that I kind of look at. He's a little underpriced. I think at 5,200, I still think that there's a little bit of meat left on that bone or juice left in the orange. I think we could take a decent
give
look.
the dog a bone.
Yeah, I think they're going to need him. I mean, at the end of the day, Damian Lillard, he's the best defender. If you get beat by the Blazers, it's usually by Damian Lillard or by just an insane shooting night by CJ McCollum. So, if they want to win this game, they're going to have to look at taking Dame out of the equation as much as possible. And to do that, I think they're going to have to play Murray a couple extra minutes. So that's pretty much where I am with this game. I'm not really trying to look too much more on the bench. The Rudy Gays, the price tag's appealing. Maybe more in cash. I don't think he has too much of a tournament upside in him right now. So I think I'm ready to move on after that. I don't know if you have anything else left in that game that you wanted to hit on.
No, just the Aldridge. He was consistent. It seemed like a cash game play, but then he pretty much tailed off a few games ago, or 4 or 5 games. He had a really down game, and I don't know why exactly, but he's like fair price, but more easy to pass on.
Yeah, that's the thing. And you look at that price and you just think LaMarcus Aldridge, how could he be that cheap? If it's kind of weird, you know what I mean? I'm used to seeing that, and this has been a perennial all-star since for the past 10 years. So hopefully he rights the ship soon, and I'm sure he will. But it's kind of a Spurs thing where they're not really worried about it right now. They're hoping that they can get the playoffs, and when they get there, they'll worry about that.
All right,
man. I almost said last game. 2 games left. The next one we get to is an 8:30 Eastern Standard Time game with the Toronto Raptors going against the Dallas Mavericks. This game's going to be taking place in Dallas. So, yes. I know Coach is going to be doing a pod tomorrow, or he has tomorrow off. So, by the way, guys, Coach is supposed to be on tonight. Obviously, he's not. So he might not be on again tomorrow night. We're trying to figure that out. We might have a replacement. It might be you again, Andy, if I'm not mistaken. So
Could be Andy and Andrew.
it could be a double Andy tag team. So
Yep.
Andy squared might be on tomorrow. You
So
guys will
we gotta
crush
play
it.
Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, if he's playing, you gotta see. So now let's. I'm looking at this game and I'm very enticed. I brought all that up with Coach because I know he's gonna probably be watching this wherever he's doing. Huge Mavericks fan, but I'm definitely gonna be interested in this game. I'm gonna let you start off with whatever team you'd like to take. Like the gentleman I am.
Let's see. What a gentleman and a scholar.
Yeah.
So I am going to be on the Raptors. However, they're getting all a bit pricey again here. I mean, we got Hollis Jefferson. His price is back up on fantasy draft above 10K. We got Boucher, but he let us down last game, right? I mean, we can't really rely on him coming off the bench and that sort of thing. Actually, it will be a low scoring game. I'm talking myself out of this game. I mean, because we don't want to pay up for these guys. I mean, so pretty much it's a really just kind of another past game. I'm trying to think of anybody else for the Raptors that I would use. No, go ahead with the Dallas Mavericks, unless you had anybody else. The Raptors.
No, I mean, for the Raptors, for me, it's pretty much just Van Vliet at this point. You see Akam at 9,200 on DraftKings. He's getting priced up to the point where I'm really thinking about it. Yeah, he's been paying off that price. He's been playing phenomenal. But there's a couple other guys on this slate in equally good matchups, if not better ones, for only a little bit more expensive that I just think I'd rather go to. I think Van Fleet is still at a fair price tag, though, where I don't mind looking at him at 7,100. Powell should continue to start for as long as Kyle Lowry misses. Very minimal minutes, not a high usage guy. Down game in the last one. I don't mind the value at 4,400. Being small forward eligible, that's a position where sometimes we just want to plug in the value play, not worry about it kind of thing. So for those reasons, I think you could look at those two guys. Not saying that they're must plays or anything like that, but they definitely warrant some consideration. But yeah, we're ready. We can jump over to Dallas. I think with Dallas, it's pretty set in stone. It's almost like when you're playing the Lakers at this point. You just know where you want to go. It's the two guys, the big guys, and then after that, you're really taking some dart throws. Doncic at 10-3. I think this, I don't really need to say anything more. Two 70-point games in the past four games we're talking now. So in both those games, 30-point triple-double. So he contains. He's explosive on any night. You can really target him. I'd obviously rather play Harden. Harden's also 1,700 more. So I'm not going to knock you if you want to play him. I'll definitely have shares of him on every single night of the season. I'm a huge Doncic fan. So Porzingis, 7K. I think the price tag is very fair. I don't know if I'm going to go back to him. I jumped on him in that last one. It was a game going against the Knicks in a revenge game, so I think that made a little bit more sense and kind of lifted my hand to play him. I don't know if I'm going to go to him in this matchup. I don't really think I need to. And then, like I said, I'm not really interested in any of the guys that are kind of playing on the wing between Brunson, DeLon Wright, Hardaway Jr., Curry. I don't really think I need to go to any of those guys in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm listening to a lot of guys on the radios and podcasts and everything talk about the Mavericks and how Porzingis, he's not gelling with Luka, at least not yet. But part of the problem is not only that I guess he's not correlating well with Luka, but also that he's not bringing good power forward qualities into his game. Like he's not posting up, he's not giving you a good NBA all-around game to really say that he's matched his real salary. So as time progresses, maybe that'll happen. But Chris Dobbs is not probably you're not going to get the value what you're paying for on a fantasy situation. So I tend to lean away from that for a little while here.
See, I almost when I watch the games, I almost have like an opposite take where I'm like, why I see them posting like him setting up plays and posting players up and them setting up plays for him in the post, and I'm almost thinking, why? That's not his game. Like that's never been his game. So I don't like the way that Carlisle's been using him, and and listen, you don't get handed like an all-star caliber player that's 7'3" that can block shots and hit 3-pointers like Chris Dobbs, and it's just like an easy mesh. No, you got to figure out how to use the new toy when you get one. So you mess around with it, you play with it in a few different ways, and eventually you know how to play with it, and it gets loosened up and it's ready to go. So that's kind of what I anticipate. I'm not really worried about it. I think this duo is going to be one that kind of wreaks havoc on the NBA for at least the next 5 years. And I'm kind of like really looking forward to seeing these guys. Keep in mind, Porzingis has only been playing for a couple of weeks, and he hasn't really played basketball in about a year and a half prior to that. So I think, for now, I think by the end of the year, we're going to be looking at paying $8,500 for him. Right now, for a little while, we're seeing that salary, and that's kind of why it entices me. But he's not performing to kind of pay for that salary at this point. And, at $7K in a good matchup, I'd be more than happy to play him. But this is against Toronto, and like you said, it could get, a little bit ugly. And I don't think we need to go there.
All right, interesting enough. We can get on with the next one then.
Late game hammer, yes. 10:30 Eastern Standard Time game. We got the Atlanta Hawks going against the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yeah.
Hawks or Clippers, Andy? I wonder which one I might be talking about here.
Let's see which one I got more notes on here. I would take... I'll take the Clippers.
I get the Hawks? All right, cool. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, okay. Well, the Clippers are potential blowout game. You got to give the Clippers 12.5 points, basically. So with possible blowout, we got George back. The interesting thing is that in the one game, he played one game, correct?
Yeah, George he came back. Okay. He played decent. He played very well in the minutes. Wasn't gun shy whatsoever. So
so he's got 41% usage in that one game. So it's small sample size, but they're using them, and I believe that what's his name was out. The other superstar. Oh, my mind went blank.
Kawhi
was out, right?
I believe Kawhi played in that game too. I believe they both played.
Okay. So they're even playing together.
Maybe I'm wrong.
So he'll probably sit out tomorrow.
Yeah. So they generally look to rest him on a back-to-back. Maybe I think now that I think about it, I think he did sit out that game. I could be mistaken. I'm spacing out a little bit. Yeah. So I think he did. I know Beverly sat out that game. So that's another. He's questionable coming in. So we're gonna definitely have to monitor the news. And I mean, any slate that Kawhi Leonard's on, monitor it. Don't play Kawhi Leonard with confidence unless you have absolute certainty that he's playing. So we'll consider him. We can go about this game. More of him being a doubtful side. That way, we could take the approach of it not being as much of a blowout. Because I think if he does sit, it obviously decreases the likelihood of a blowout. Maybe this game has a chance to stay close. But if he does play, it's definitely gonna kind of temper my ownership on the Hawks side of the ball.
Let's do this. Let's monitor, see what happens. Obviously, now let's assume dude's out, and we just got George. So now we're just looking at who we can fill in there. Once we wait for the news, we see as fillers. Who else we got? We got Lou Williams, and we got Harrell. Mm-hmm. Now there's a third guy here that could be also a filler, possibly still, as Jermichael Green. If we need, we can put in there, that our guy is out because he's resting and he needs his time, and he's not going to play his back-to-back. He's monitoring his knee and everything, I believe it is, and he's going to just, sit out games as needed, and you got the back-to-back resting, time management, and all that stuff. But with these guys coming in off the bench and starting as well, now we got Jermichael Green who surpassed value 2 games in a row. So with Jermichael, that's awesome value. You gotta take that as a core play.
Yeah, definitely. I think if we get the word that Jermichael's gonna put up good minutes and be in that starting lineup, he did struggle actually in the last one. But that's a down game. So the 2 previous to that, I dropped a 40-point banger, 14-14 double-double, and another double-double prior to that. But the rebounds look secure. It looks like he's definitely a good target when you're looking at the small ball center lineups. And, Atlanta might as well just do that. I mean, they do have Alex Len playing off the bench. He played fantastic in the last game. mostly due to matchup. That's kind of why they needed him against Jokic. So, I don't know if they're going to use him as much. I wouldn't, necessarily go target Len in this game as much, just because we've seen the Clippers play small plenty of times and get away with it. And, they can really, if they play Harrell at center, they can get away with playing Jabari Parker at center if they really wanted to. So, for me, that's kind of going to, take a couple, the bigs on both sides kind of off the table for me. I'm really going to be looking at the wings. I'll stick with the Clippers before I go over to that land. I'm bouncing around a little bit right now.
Sure.
Yeah, so, I'm thinking it's really tough to play any of these guys. I think, the Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell stack's definitely in play. I think always in play. Yeah, absolutely. Those guys correlate so well together where if you're playing one, you might as well play the other and try to take advantage of it. I think that this is a good matchup for both of them on paper. So if you think this game's going to stay close, and if we do know if Kawhi Leonard's sitting, it's really up in the air at this point. It's possible. Knowing that he did sit in the last one kind of has been leading more towards. Now that I'm thinking about that, he obviously probably could just play in this one. I don't think they're on a back-to-back set. So the more we think about it, the more likely he is to play. Yeah. So
have this marked as a back-to-back, but the other guy that's interesting for maybe you feel this would be okay for a GPP play is Cam Reddish. Some nights he can shoot, some nights he's off, obviously, and his field goal percentage down. But he's a rookie, and he's gonna have some big games probably in the future.
Yeah, I'm actually a big Reddish fan. I've been tempering my expectations for him on DFS just because this whole team's been a little bit trying to kind of find their identity, and Trae Young's is guiding the ship right now. The minutes are at a fair enough price. They're only at like that 20 range, and the price tag's low. But I just don't know if the upside's there. Yes, he'd definitely be a GPP option for me. I don't know if
he has the opportunity.
Oh yeah, when he has the opportunity. If we know he's playing 30+ minutes, I think you could definitely plug him in there as a good value play. But until I see those minutes, it's gonna be a little tough for me. I think. If Patrick Beverley sits, I think obviously Trae Young's in play. If Patrick Beverley plays, that's going to definitely, have me take a double take at Trae Young. The price is up there at 9,400. I don't really care. He had a down game last game, and a down game for him is 45 fantasy points. So, the three previous games before that, we were looking at 68, 65.5, and 61. So, I'm definitely going to – he's almost like in that Luka Doncic, pool with me right now, where it's like I don't really care about the matchups. I'm going to have some shares of both these guys on every slate, I think, going forward, because night in and night out they have that 60-point upside that we see in guys like Giannis, LeBron, and Harden, and are 2 to 3K less than them sometimes. So I think he's obviously in play. Jabari Parker, I've kind of been bouncing off and on between them. I bounced off him in the last game. He had a good one. Really didn't shock me. It's against Phoenix. I opted to play Porzingis over him though, and Porzingis. I'm sorry, I didn't catch you.
Oh, I was just saying he's the other guy, Parker. He's getting high though.
Yeah, he's getting up there. He dropped down $200, so it's a little bit of a savings, I guess, off his last salary. But it's against the Clippers. It's not the best matchup. The Clippers are obviously a good team defense all around, not just because they have Kawhi Leonard, Patrick Beverley, and now Paul George back. They're actually just a very well coached team by Doc Rivers who play good team defense anyway. So yeah, I think you could look at Parker. I'm not going to knock you if you want to play for. For me, it's really going to be Trae Young. And then before we get off this game, I definitely wanted to bring up Terrence Mann. He did start. Doc Rivers really likes this kid. He's given him opportunity to really play for a role right now, and he really ran with it. 24.6 minutes in the last one. We would need Beverly to sit out again, but going against the Hawks, one of the worst teams defending opposing point guards, Trae Young has bottom 2 defense in the league for any players, right next to Isaiah Thomas. So definitely an option. And if this game does get out of hand, if Kawhi Leonard plays, and we see Beverly sit, we might see Maine get a little extended run even in garbage time. At the end of the day, he's one of their role players. He's going to probably be like one of their 11th men once Beverly's healthy. So I think he might be safe if Beverly's out, regardless of a score scenario.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not saying go there and overload on him.
Okay.
But I
too safe.
Not like a build. If he's playing 35 minutes, it would be a different story.
Okay.
But no, he's only playing 25 minutes, so it does leave. And it's not like he lit the world on fire last time. He put up 17.5 DraftKings points, but he looked good. And this is definitely a better matchup than they had in the last game.
Sounds good.
All right, man.
I guess I would go there in a tournament if he had the opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about how the way the cookie crumbles at the end of the day with all these injuries. We're going to be monitoring a lot of news, and
Oh
that's why
yeah.
you guys need to make sure you're following Hoopball Fantasy on Twitter. That's where you'll see all of our blurbs, especially on the weekends. I'm one of our blurbers out there on the weekends, so I'm usually trying to get out any and all information I could as fast as possible. And I try to put a little DFS spin on it, and as long as the season long in there as well. So I try to cater to both. But we all do. So you'll notice that between all of our blurbs, we hit on both DFS, we'll hit on streaming, we'll hit on season long, dynasty. Definitely worth following. You get a good pack of information. Great team that we have over there. And definitely make sure you're checking out some of our premium content. Mike the Panda Passador is always pumping out content left and right. You get the Dan and Brew podcast. Both those guys are just geniuses. You get the Brews letter. You get everything. It's a huge package. It's well worth it. We've been kind of leading people to the fantasy championships and year-long leagues and for years now, and now we're getting started leading people to championship in DFS. We already had a few listeners take down a couple GPPs and looking to keep the ball rolling, man. I had a good time tonight, though. This was good. I had fun.
Yeah, lots of fun. It's see, I also got Andrew with the tournament wins, so we want to see who's coming up next to try to get the champ.
Dude,
that name, I guess, will be passed around like a trophy.
No, listen, if I get that thing, I'm holding it into my pocket, not giving it back. I just want the T-shirt. I don't care. If there's a trophy, I'll let somebody else have it. Just give me the free T-shirt. That's the trophy itself right there. But definitely give us a follow on Twitter. I'll let you start, Andy. Why don't you give everybody your Twitter? Go give Andy a follow. I did the same thing with Miles. You guys have been absolutely crushing the forums, and you guys are good. I want me and Coach. We try to get through all the questions as fast as we possibly could. Sometimes I'm near my computer and phone, and sometimes I'm not. And I want you guys to be able to answer a lot of these. And I feel like you guys would be a great use to the Twitter community out there and our listeners.
Awesome. So you can find me on the Twitter handle at Drew, like Drew Carey, J, Gallagher, the last name, in case you need a spelling, Gallagher.
Right. And you can find me at Mike Apotria. That's MikeApotria. You can find Andrew Hansen at Language Olympic. It's LanguageOlympic. Almost botched that. I always do. And then you can find Coach at Joe Sarvadi. That's JoeSarvadi. So, man, that's our team. We got our handles out there. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. And definitely follow Miles at Miles, I believe it's 6565. So that's our team.
Yep.
There we go. We got the show out of the way. Good luck tonight, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. It'll be Andy on again with Andrew. They'll be smashing it out of the park, and I'll definitely be listening to you guys. I'll be looking forward to those Sunday tips I'm going to get from you. And we had a good time, so give it a thumbs up, rate, review, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow.
Great show. Thanks.
Take care, guys.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.